Hey everyone, this is Stanislav Kostyuk again, the lead game designer of Trials Rising, playing Trials Rising, and talking about various development stories and issues and what we're proud of and stuff like that. So I have synchronized the save file with the one from 2019 when I played the final build after its release for a bit, and hopefully there will be less issues related to that. And also hopefully this will be a bit more structured part than before. And this is what I have been talking about last video. You see here on the screen, like the idea behind this home screen was that this would lead to the most relevant content, but it still leads to a track pack. I don't like this, and it's always the same track packs, like it's not even... Anyway, I would like to elaborate on some things I have said in the last video and probably didn't talk about in detail back then. First, I mentioned that I am not happy with the UI, and I'm still not, but you know, it's the way it is. I don't think many people who worked on the game were fully happy with it. So here's the thing. The UI for Trials games before Trials Rising was made in Flash. I don't remember exactly. There was something like Flash Air, maybe. I don't remember all the details, but basically it was made in Flash. Now for Trials Rising, at first we thought we would, use Flash again, but we were sort of mandated in a way to transfer to a new in-house Ubisoft UI middleware, let's say. And at the moment in time, it didn't really have a lot of features. In fact, some features that were added to the middleware were added once we started actually working on UI for Trials Rising, and things were missing that we really needed. And still, what this means is that, a lot of things, they didn't quite work out the way we would ideally want. Some stuff is a bit too simplistic. Look, it's basically we tried. I think the UI team has done the best they could with the technology that they had to work with. But yeah. Now, another thing that, I'm not disappointed with, but it's just different than what we have planned from the beginning, is the garage. So you can see on the right side of the screen, but in general, you can see that the garage is sort of this more abstract, foggy environment. So the way we planned the garage to go initially is, how I've mentioned in the last video, we were planning for a rookie to pro kind of journey, and we wanted to represent that with the garage, which would have had 3 variations that change as you progress through the game. But the thing is that 3 different garages was a bit too much in terms of scope of, the 3D models and everything, and then to make sure that the UI, which was already a pretty complicated thing to work on, that it would fit all the 3 versions of the garage. It was just not feasible. So we have went with this more abstract approach instead, which I think in terms of like the actual environment and fog, and you see there's like the various colored fogs as well, I think it looks fine. It's just that the UI part that's on top of it is a bit... It's a bit disappointing. And you know, when we go into the map, so oh my god. Oh shit. What are all these? Are these really work like this now? So you remember last video I said that I wasn't fully happy with how the world map turned out in the end? Yeah, this is one of the reasons why. You know, you go in and there's a lot of stuff. Oh, but the showcase of tracks from from the track central is working, which is nice. But yeah, oh man, there's all these contracts and shit. So the extreme. So the idea behind the contracts, I'm really not sure why there's so many. Did I just not ignore all the stuff? But then I don't remember right now how the contract progression was supposed to work exactly. But here's the idea that we essentially had, is that contracts from sponsors, for the most part, they were supposed to sort of promote players who usually don't replay tracks to, you know, replay tracks and try to get better at them. And yeah, some contracts, well, this is false, no more than 6. Some contracts involve stuff like backflips and stuff like that, actions that might not necessarily be the most efficient for track completion. But all these sponsor contract content, their purpose was, okay, go in and replay it, to sort of promote the replayability for people who, you know, wouldn't replay as part of their normal behavior. But the progression for the skilled players, we didn't want to block it. We wanted for skilled players to be able to sort of go through the game more or less the classic way if they gain enough experience from getting like gold medals and stuff. I think on launch the balance for that was not perhaps the most fitting, but hopefully it was fixed by then. Oh man, the amount of icons. But at least I appreciate that we did this thing that sometimes when you sort of hover over buttons from the same league, others become transparent. But this is what I meant in the last video by how things can get just too crowded. And the reason why this happened is because we didn't plan for the world map to be like this originally. So like, for example, there was a league here, then there was a league here, then a league here, then the next league would add tracks in again in here, somewhere in this area. Some of them would be more complex, some not. But the tracks, the tracks were not created with the intention of how they would look on the map, because that would have been like a menu that you'll just click around and the map would change itself. Like, the map being cluttered would not be an issue. But after we have introduced the map, we couldn't really relocate the tracks because many of them are connected to some specific landmarks and stuff like that. So we got a situation where, the tracks, they don't unlock sort of gradually across the map, and they sort of become unlocked all over the place. and yeah. The thing I do like though is you see when sometimes like there are some things that I still do like for example when timers appear on some tracks, like hey, this person has gotten this time on new high score, and you can select him and race against him immediately. I think this is something that works quite well. Lights, camera, action, and again, the tracks themselves are really cool. The level designers did an awesome job on them. I don't remember the exact how to play most of them, but you know, uh, I didn't touch this game for years. No, I could have. There's. Yeah, I'm sorry, like before, it's really difficult to play this kind of gameplay and talk at the same time. So I will do most of the talking after. Yeah. So I think parts of it work really well, of the world map and some of the more dynamic elements that we have, and the contracts work well enough to, I mean, from what I remember of the stats, we did have, a more amount of players, replaying the tracks and getting better at leaderboards than before. So the goal of sort of like promoting more people to play through this competition has been achieved pretty well, especially with the tutorials that are still a bit lost. So yeah, in terms of priority, I'm not sure how, like, there should be like 5 biggest icons showing up right now. One of them is this one, which, we don't need it. What others are, I am not sure. Does it count this as a high priority icon? Or this challenger? Yeah. Now, I'm actually quite interested in what some of these new bikes are. Scarab. Because I haven't seen a lot of them, and the bikes for post-launch, climb alpaca, climb. Well, let's try this bike and see. So here's a thing that has happened during development. We were getting quite a bit of requests from HQ that essentially boil down to make some aspects, well, not some, well, a lot of aspects more similar to how it works in Rainbow Six Siege. Rainbow Six Siege was making a lot of money, obviously, even though it wasn't a project Ubisoft necessarily believed in before launch, but after it became successful, it didn't really matter. Oh shit, I'm gonna die. But okay, so it became successful, and we had a post-launch period in Trials Rising, and the request was, well, there were a bunch of requests that were coming in with the intent to make some stuff work more like Siege. Oh shit, this is tricky with this bike. I need to do bunny hop. I need to remember how to do bunny hops. Okay, oppa. Nah. Now, one of those requests, yeah, sorry, I'm being distracted again. One of those requests was to add a new bike every 2-3 months, like Siege would add a new operator every 2-3 months, which for us was really not a feasible thing to do. You know, it's like Trials Rising. There is no meta in Trials Rising. It's not a competition like Rainbow Six Siege. It didn't make sense for the project or for the identity. We had a couple bikes that we have defined as competitive. You know, the Rhino and the Mantis. Like the Rhino, the heavy and fast bike, and the Mantis, the agile bike. Plus there was the Squid, which was the beginner's bike. And we were saying how every bike that has to be added post launch should be something that doesn't break this competitive aspect. Either it's, you know, just a bike that exists for fun, the the donkey, which I don't remember if it got in on launch or on post launch, but you know, something that you can, you know, we call them fun bikes, like that we call them directly, something that exists for fun. Or if it is a competitive bike, then it shouldn't break the balance of the first two bikes, the core bikes that we had. It shouldn't become overpowered. And this is a tricky section with... Yeah, I'm not sure I will be able to complete it. So we had to push against that a lot, against this principle of, you know, hey, add a bike after bike, because if something, you know, would not work the way it should, we wouldn't be able to really change things, because, you know, even if we would rebalance the bikes, you know, people would still already have, you know, the leaderboard's records. So it had to be right from release, and just like releasing a competitive bike every 2 months is just, it wasn't feasible. And there were quite a lot of requests like that we had to push against. But what this also meant is that, you know, in some cases we sort of had to comply to some requests even if it didn't make full sense for us. Like, for example, gear crates, because, okay, so, you know, when you work like within a big publisher slash developer like Ubisoft, you know, it's still, you don't really have absolute total freedom. You still need to have the HQ validate what you are doing. And we were trying to keep our identity and, you know, some principles that we were finding important with the bikes, with competition, stuff like that. But then it meant that, okay, something has to give, even if you don't fully believe in it. And one of this part was the gear crates as a sort of monetization aspect of the game. And the thing is that gear crates, they still do not make a lot of sense in the context of our game, because most of the stuff that you can unlock it's unlockable once, like the stickers and stuff like that. Stuff that's, you know, stuff that can be rewarded from the gear crates, like items. I mean, it wasn't that... the items weren't that useful. I mean, they were cool, but we had the, let's call a rider store. We had the UGC. Oh my god, this is cool. Like, this is what I'm talking about. Like, somebody made this Spider-Man mask that I'm gonna now purchase for coins. Yeah. Oh shit, this is cool. Like, this is the thing that I'm the most proud of, the customization editor. In terms of technology, in terms of UI, again, there were some complications and we didn't really do everything that we wanted. But people still, I mean, it's usable enough to create stuff like this, which is amazing. Confirm. Let me get that. So, as I mentioned before, you know, the community was a big pillar of the game, and customization was another pillar of the game, and we wanted to combine community and customization together by allowing people to customize items they buy or receive and then share them. But what this means when you share them, this means that stuff like gear crates becomes less useful and less desirable than you know, what's in Central. Like, why would I need to open gear crates when I have all this stuff that I can purchase for in-game currency here directly? Some of it, okay, some of it uses hard currency. Like, we had to sort of balance with that in mind as well. But gear crates are sort of useless as a result. They might be useful for creators in a sense that when you go to the rider, like, you can some items that you get in gear crates, you can customize them with stickers and add stuff with the stickers. Oh man, this was one of the most complicated features of the game, to make this sticker system properly work and show up on items, because these are very complicated shapes. Like, usually stickers are applied to stuff like cars, you know, shapes that have big surfaces, you know, that don't have any indentations and stuff like that, and it shows up, you know, it's relatively easy to make it show up on a car, then and move around the car because there is a clear up and down. But then when you have stuff like this, like pants, it's like, okay, there's this leg that then transforms into this leg. And you see, even now there are some issues with how that sticker has worked. It's just, you know, an insanely because it's like, it's related to UV mapping and how you how coordinates are applied to that and how it moves from, you know, one place to another. There was a lot of complicated math. The programmer Alexander Drajewski, who was working on this feature and like fine-tuning it from all the bugs, he was a certified genius, I tell you. And yeah, this feature is as awesome as it is really because of him and because of the time he has spent doing all this. But yeah, so, you know, gear crates might be useful for creators to sort of get duplicates of items to, you know, make more creations. But for players, you know, we really wanted to push players to get stuff created by other players, because that was the concept. That was like, okay, community creates things for community because community does awesome things, and we didn't want to block them in this regard. So yeah, but gear crates are here and they're sort of I mean, at least the thing I'm happy, I suppose, with is that as far as loot boxes go, they're inoffensive. At the same time, I really doubt that. I don't remember seeing the data for this, but I really doubt that gear crates actually uh, made any sort of considerable amount of money. Also, do we have the possibility to open them all at the same time? No, we don't. Oh shit, yeah. Um, Open next. Yeah, and the process, just like the animations and stuff like that, it's really rudimentary and not that exciting. Like, it's not even exciting that much to open these kind of loot boxes. Like, look at these animations. But again, as I said before with the UI, we just, a lot of features were not there when we needed them. So, yeah. Anyway, I suppose I'm gonna keep this video a little bit shorter so this is it for now. A bit less full of stories than the previous video, which was 40 minutes. This is gonna be about 30, more or less. But yeah, hope you still have enjoyed it, and I will see you next time with some more stories about the game.